It's Thursday night, it's 7:30, and that means live time. Once again, due to the miracles of technology, which I don't understand, I am live on, which is which, YouTube and Facebook. Happy days. So, how is everybody? Is there anybody there? Is there anybody up to anything good? Do tell. So, first off, we're going to have a little moment for Mark Butterworth, a friend of mine from way back, who it was his send-off today. It was his funeral today. I couldn't be along there. Hello, Derek, you're right. I couldn't be there, unfortunately. I was at work because, of course, they couldn't get by without me. Evening, Chris. So, yes, Mark, Godspeed, matey. Rest in peace. Yes, good lad. He was a good lad. He was the chap who originally had my Blue Meanie Mustang. He built the Blue Meanie, which I later bought as a rolling shell. But yes, he. Yeah. I shall miss Mark. Anyway, so there you go. That was today. Hello, Andy. How you doing, mate? So yes, what else have we been up to? Well, aside from the fact that today I went to actually insure the Fiesta today, and I'd phoned up the insurer who I get my daily the insurer who I get my daily insurance through. I thought I'll phone them up. So I phoned them up, and they said, "Sorry, we can't do you a quote. You have to do it online." Right, okay. That's really bloody tedious. Oh, excuse me, there's got to be a little bit of lead switchery there. Hopefully that'll work. Been diving in mildly spicy. Mildly spicy what? Hi, Dean. All well and good. Thank you very much, matey. Hello, Scott. It doesn't appear to be wanting to show me all the comments on the Facebook one, so I apologise if I'm missing you. Yes, I have to do it online, so I went online where I have a little sort of account, a customer account. Oh, that's jolly. And did a multi-car thing. Well, they don't do a multi-car policy. They do a... Hello, Mike. How you doing, mate? They don't do a multi-car policy, but if you take out a second policy, they'll give you a discount. Happy days. So I went on there. It had to fill in all my details. Well, you already have all my bloody details. They're exactly the same as the details for the Mercedes. Only the car is different. But no, I had to fill them all in again. So I went through all that shite and got right to the end. He gave me a quote. I thought, oh, that's as reasonable as I can expect. Buy. So it says, right, fill in your card details. I put in my card details. It said, redirecting you to your bank. Right, okay, and then the bank had to send me a little text message with a code on it. It's either is good, Chris. Text with a little code in it. So I put the code in it, and then clicked buy. He went, "We've ended your session. Bye bye." Oh, no, transaction cancelled. We've ended your session. Go away. So, yeah, and all this is because you can't actually do anything over the phone. Hello, Biff. How are you doing, matey? Are you home yet? How was your trip? I can't imagine it was anything less than superb. So yes, there we go. So I'm fed up with I keep getting a little thing saying Andrew Wesley Freer and no message. Just your name. I don't know whether it's just reminding me that you're there or what. But hold on, I wonder what happens if I press this button. Nothing. Okay, sod that. So yes, there was that was my little rant about today's convenient technology. Even into work, bloody hell, you back hit the ground running, didn't you? Crikey, Riley. Now it says, Andrew Wesley Freer, I'm awaiting my soup. And that's all. Hello, Ian. Hello, Darren. How are you doing? Yes. Oh, so what have been all been up to, and what are you up to this weekend? Because of course it's August Bank Holiday weekend, the last weekend in August, and by certain definitions, the last weekend of summer. Because of course this time next week, it'll be September. God damn it. I hope that was somebody emptying the bin. Got to pay the credit card bill off. Ah, right, okay, point taken. Yes, I can imagine that you weren't shy about spending a few bob over in the States. You did the whole tourist trail thing, didn't you? It looked fantastic. It's the bins go out tonight. That's what that noise is. So, yes, what's everybody up to this weekend? Last weekend, on the Saturday, I went to Alton Park I booked the Blue Meanie into the US Auto Show. If you've ever been to Speedfest down south, this is kind of the northern version. Now, the only and it's the same kind of thing. It's like an American themed. The racing card was headed by Bernie's V8, which is a wonderful series, and I've got a lot of time for it. And there's an American car show and a few other bits and bats going on. It's like a hello Graham, how you doing, mate? It's like a slightly watered down version of Speedfest, but of course Alton Park, Brands Hatch, owned by the same people. I keep wanting to say MSV. Yeah, MSV. Yeah, not. So the booked in for that. It was free for the driver. So the driver of a show car gets in for free. Great. I think the spectator entry is 22 quid. So if you're in a show car, the passenger gets in for half price. So unpaid intern 2 got in for 11 quid. Great. Yes, a lot of driving. Even had a ride in a bone stock 1914 Model T. Cool. I take it they didn't let you drive, Biff. Because by all accounts, it's all weird. The pedals are in different places and all sorts of things. Huddersfield Hot Rod and Custom Car Show is watching. Cool. Welcome. How you doing? So went along to that. It was a pleasant day, a bit breezy, and it's really kind of cool because you park your show car in the show field, which is on a big old slope. You got all your traders and whatnot and club stands and everything. There quite a few Corvettes there because it's the 70th anniversary of the Corvette and so on and so forth. Making a big deal of that. Unfortunately, not very far down the road was Tatton Park with another event called Passion for Power, and a lot of Corvettes were there. Hello, Colin. How you doing, mate? So they kind of split their focus a bit, but can't be helped. And the racing is great. I do love, like I say, Bernie's V8s. When you got a big field of Mustangs, Camaros, Corvettes, the usual suspects. Down to Red Hill Cruise. Yes, I was going to say, you can tell me about Red Hill Cruise later because I expect that was fantastic too. So yeah, Camaros, Corvettes, yada yada. There was a Cuda, which was beautiful. There was a Ford Maverick, which I was very intrigued by, especially when the guy said, I talked to the guy who owned it and raced it, and he said, "Oh, we've not had it long. This is its first time out. It's a little 302. It's basically stock. It's only about 250 horsepower, and also it's not got much in the way of brakes." I thought, oh, goody! So it's proper muscle car racing there, and anyway, watched the first race, and in the second race, they do a rolling start, the Bernie's V8s, and yeah, they lined up along one side of the grid like a Le Mans start, sort of at 45 degrees, sort of. And there was a grid walk, and all the punters could just sort of go onto the grid, walk around the cars, and now the Bernie's V8 lot, they're really, really good at sort of including people, getting them involved. So you got all the people, all the punters walking up and down, and the the staff there handed out these posters. Now they had a 33 car grid, I believe, but there's 32 cars on here. There's that Maverick, and yeah, we were handing these posters out to people as like little free souvenirs. And let me drive. The car's valued at $250,000. Jesus Christ! Brake on the right, throttle on a stick, left pedal. Yeah. Yes, I know they're very complicated, the gears on an early Model T. So anyway, they give out these posters, and they were giving the kids Sharpie markers. The idea being that they could go around the grid and find the drivers, match the drivers to the cars, evening Phil, and get their autographs and stuff. And I thought, that's cool. And the kids are going up to the races and saying, would you sign this? Yeah, cool. The, letting the kids sit in the race cars and have their picture taken and this, that and the other. It was really sort of, like I say, none of this hide in the Winnebago bollocks. It was like, yeah, come and talk to the race car drivers. Come and look at the race car. Come and sit in the race car if you wish. All they said was, there were parents putting the kids in. All they said was, please don't push any buttons or anything. And it was a really, really cool way of involving, because these kids, like, they're having a whale of a time. They'll remember this, and later on they'll remember, yeah, the drivers of the big noisy muscle cars were really cool and let me play with their race car. Nobody let me sit in the race car, miserable buggers. And then the getting the kids, the white paint line along the sort of the left-hand side of the grid, they're getting the kids to sign their names on the white paint line. And I thought, that is like really, really encouraging and including, and it was cool. Anyway, yes, and then we watched the race, and it was really, really good. Along with all the muscle cars, you've also got, there were quite a few TVRs there, Tuscans and whatnot, and there's a couple of Porsche flat sixes. Okay, fair enough. Come on, and a couple of MG BGT V8s, which, even though they've only got little Rover V8s in, normally do really well because they weigh bugger all. They weigh about half of what some of the muscle cars do. We're talking maybe three-quarters of a ton. So they're pretty sprightly. The guy with the Maverick with not much in the way of brakes was very much a backmarker in both races. And yeah, it was a really good day. And right at the end, after all the race card had finished, they did like Speedfest. They got anybody who wished to. A lot of people seem to bugger off early. I don't know why, but anybody who wished to do so could bring their American car down onto the track, do a parade lap behind a safety car. And that was a bit weird, but of course there's only one way onto the track, and all the marshals there going, yes, this way, you go that way, and you pull around onto the track. I managed to, I got waved in by a marshal, but the parade was led by a line of Corvettes, and some tit in a blue Mustang got right in the middle. So that spoilt their fun. But yeah, it was, you get dragged onto the track. It was an older Mustang. Got dragged onto the track, and then of course the pace car sort of trundled off at walking pace to allow people to come onto the track, and then got halfway around the track and stopped. So I'm about 6 cars from the front of the queue and sitting there with the bloody noise. The Meanie's so noisy. And there's still cars coming onto the track. And somebody's obviously got on the radio and said, right, you'll have to pull a bit further around the track. So off he goes for another couple of 100 yards, and still cars coming onto the track. And oh, it was stop, start, and eventually I had unpaid intern 2 filming it. And eventually I sort of said, oh, we sat still for a while and said, oh, just turn the video off. So he did. And of course, that was when the pace car went, oh, off we trundle again, so off we trundle again. And then he picks up a bit of pace and goes round. And I thought, oh God, are we going to join up with the back of the parade or something? No, so he goes round and stops again. And I'm thinking, as parade laps go, this is getting pretty tedious. And clearly the pace car driver thought the same, because without any warning, he just went, bugger off! And shot up in a big BMW X5 or X7 thing with lights flashing. And of course, all these Corvettes went, ooh, right, okay, off we go. And I went, we'll have a bit of that. Clog! And oh, crikey, it was fun. And nobody was really trying, but I was really, really pleased that I could take the Benz at Alton Park at the same speed as a 2023 Corvette, which was in front. I also then was made brutally aware of the fact that a 2023 Corvette's brakes are a lot better than mine. And yeah, I had a sphincter twitching moment of that. So that was that, and then it was turn around and go home, and it had been a bloody good day out. So yes, that leads on to, well, I've just been at work all week. It's been incredibly tedious, but that leads on to this weekend, which of course is Bank Holiday weekend. Many people, not including me, get a Monday off. Hooray! And it's the last long weekend of the year. So what's everybody up to? Darren was saying a minute ago that, of course, last weekend was Red Hill Cruise, which is basically, I think I'm right in saying it was the Homans from Dream Cars who kind of started it up, and it was very much a nod to the mid-70s Chelsea cruise ethos, and it is just that, gentle cruise, no dicking around, and yeah, just sort of summertime slow cruise and just enjoy the atmos. Sounds like it was a good evening, was it, Darren? Anyway, there we go. So yeah, this weekend I know there's a few things on. I know there's the Silverstone Festival is a big one, and I think they're having a bit of a Corvette bash there. Welding this weekend. Oh, blimey, still welding the old Winderlicker bus. Oh, bloody hell. Well, I don't envy you that. Yeah, so the Silverstone Festival, there's the Prescott Hill Climb, the VHRA Prescott Hill Climb. It was fun all the way, very busy, brilliant. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. And so there you go. For the benefit of the people on Facebook, the verdict on the Red Hill Dream Cruise was fun all the way and very busy. Cock on. So yeah, there's the Prescott Hill Climb, there's the Knucklebusters at Stonham Barns. There's quite a few little things going on. I may just get around to fitting the new tail lights to the Corvette this weekend. Is this something you've had for a while, or is this something that came home in hand luggage? Actually, I think you've had them for a while, haven't you? I'm sure you mentioned this ages ago. So, oh, and last Sunday, what did it? Hi, Dave. Good time at Lupin Farm. Yes. Yeah, last ever one. Well, I've been told that, and unfortunately, on Sunday, I'd agreed to deliver the little folding trailer tent to its new owner. Well, I'd agreed to deliver it over the weekend, but as I was away all Saturday at Alton Park, I only left Sunday, so yeah, I saw lots of cars going to and from Lupin Farm, and by all accounts, that was a good and busy bash, and yeah, the last one, shame. But yeah, the guy who organises it, Edwin, cracking on a bit, and I believe not the picture of health, so he's stepping back from it. Somebody may pick up the baton, but I don't think it will have the same cachet as Lupin Farm. Still, there we go. So yes, this weekend. So I've delivered the trailer tent to its new owner. Now the Jean-Claude Dan van is for sale. And there will be a proper advert placed this weekend, with a bit of luck. I could do with giving it a wash, really, because not only is it slightly insulting to try and sell a van that's that filthy, it's also probably in breach of several health and safety regulations. So, and this time I may actually get a set of step ladders, and I can reach to about, what's that, about 7 foot, 7.5 foot. That is how much the van has ever been washed. It's got a tide mark about 7.5 feet up. So I shall be probably taking a set of step ladders, trying to burgle some TFR off somebody, and giving it a good rinse down. Frankly, I should be really, really sorry to see the thing go if it goes. But the thing is, the insurance on that runs out in September the 11th, and the MOT runs out about 2 weeks after that. I was kind of hoping I'd have it to go to the Eurofinals, but as that is September the 8th, 9th and 10th, it means when I get home I've got 1 day of insurance left. So unless somebody wants to buy it and they absolutely want to pick it up on Monday, September the 11th, I'm a bit buggered on that one. But yes, if anybody wants a really shabby but perfectly usable slow and noisy LDV convoy, which has been very basically converted to a sort of a one-man, maybe two-man, two-people motorhome. Well, 2 men, I don't mind, it's your business. You'd be very cosy though if there was 2 men in there. It is. Hello, how you doing, matey? You're late again. Not to worry. All you've missed is me clacking. So yes, if anybody fancies that, it'll be. Like I say, I'll put it up for a grand with like whatever, just 4 weeks MOT left on it, or more if you want a full year's ticket on it. And I admit, yes, it will cost more, but there is a mighty gamble going on there, because what are the chances of a 25-year-old LDV going through a test first time? But we shall see. If you're interested, do get in touch. Like I say, if you want something that's lovely and is never going to need a spanner putting on it or anything like that, no. Stroll on. But if you want something that, you can fiddle and faff with over winter and get it in some sort of decent shape in time to enjoy it next year, and it has to be said that, I mean, I noticed this during lockdown, but camper vans have gone bonkers money. I've got a friend at work who was saying that he'd ordered a new camper van. Or he was thinking about it. He went to look at them, and I can't remember what brand it was, Swift or something like that. And, only a sort of like a Ducato van-based one. And it was. He said he went to look at it. It was 70 grand. And him and his missus thought about it for a week and decided they could probably afford it. So they went a week later, the following weekend, they went to put their order in, and it was 75 grand. And then lockdown came along. Oh, incidentally, he's still waiting for delivery. They're that far behind. So what's that, 2 years down the line, he's still waiting for delivery. Lockdown came along, and within a couple of months, they were 90 grand. And the waiting list got longer. So if you want a new camper van, it's cheaper to buy a house. So yeah, and consequently, when the top level goes up that far, it kind of drags the bottom level up with it, and there's no such thing as a really cheap camper van anymore. But anyway, yes, the old LDV must go. So if anybody is at all interested, do get in touch. One of the main reasons it's got to go, and something you should know, is that it's only rated to tow 1.5 tons total. But basically, it's a 3.5 ton van with a 5 ton train weight, which means you can't tow more than 1.5 tons, which is no good to me, because something like the Blue Meanie on a trailer is over 1.5 ton. I had a really quick visit, just going to get speed. But hello, Nick. How you doing, matey? So, you're going shiny things shopping again? Fantastic, mate. Well, I hope you're having a whale of a time as well. I hope you're having a really good holiday, although you're in Florida, so it shouldn't be too difficult. Special construction, or is it a supply chain problem? Well, I don't know. I mean, everybody had supply chain problems during lockdown, but they're pretty much back up to speed by now, as far as I'm aware. Excuse me. I know there's a lot of catching up to do. Hello, Twin 40 Dave. Who's that? But Twin 40s. Yep, okay, that's cool. A bit chilly, only 33 degrees. Oh, bless! I hope you took your parka. But the weather today is a bit grey and nothing particularly special. And just for you, Nick, tomorrow's weather forecast is. I hope like I say, I hope you're having a good time. And oh God, no, I don't need to think about you in shorts. Wow. So, Trish is jealous that you went to IHOP. She hasn't been since Tuesday. I haven't been to IHOP in years. Bloody hell. And I don't know where you are, Nick, but there's one thing I've always found. Oh, shiny things. Nice one, Nick. Speak to you later, mate, and enjoy your shiny bit shopping. And yeah, bring us back a stick of rock. Doesn't have to be shiny. Yes, Lucky Nick is in Florida with this extended bunch of family, and I'm sure he's having a whale of a time, especially as he is at speed shops buying things. So there we go. What is next? Yes, apart from trying and failing to insure the Fiesta, and trying not particularly hard at the minute, but eventually will be trying to sell the van. And I've sold the trailer tent, and at some point I need to get the Fiesta insured and taxed so I can bring it home from the workshop, so I can get the Chrysler down to the workshop so I can start doing something on that, because I took that for an MOT a couple of weeks ago, which it failed quite dramatically, and I haven't done a damn thing to it. So yeah. Yes, things need doing. And yeah, and then there's like I said, there's Bank Holiday weekend, there's first weekend in September, second weekend in September is the Euros. Which country is the worst place to be a hot rodder? Oh Christ, I don't know. And I suppose in order to answer that one, you'd have to live there, or have been there, or know a lot about it. And I'm sadly ill-informed on that score. Hello, Nige. How you doing, matey? How's things with you? Yes, I don't know if I couldn't go along today, so this evening we're having a quick drink for Mark. I know a lot of countries have. Hello, Pete. How you doing, mate? I know a lot of countries have some fairly strict laws on what you can and cannot modify. And a lot of countries have a varying degree of bastardliness from the police force about what can and cannot be driven. A lot of European countries have some peculiar laws about what can and can't be modified, and frankly, it's tedious. There's a Transit Mark 1 camper van for sale at camper van dealers. Yellow, rising roof, white panel, petrol from the grill shop. just for curiosity, yes, find out how much, and I bet it'll be like, how much? And yeah, frightening money. So, oh shit, where was I? Nope, completely gone. Sorry. Where was I before campervan, transit campervan talk? Oh yeah, hot rod countries. Yeah, countries where you're only allowed to use vintage vehicles on pre-arranged dates and things like that. And places where you're not allowed to modify cars from factory standard at all. Well, look at Japan. Their MOT is frighteningly strict to the extent that, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that if your car is rusty, you're not allowed to weld it. No, 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 scrap. Or, as has been the case the last 20-something years, export. Yeah, and there's countries that do allow certain modifications and not others. And I think was it Germany who came up with the silly idea that you're allowed to fit whatever wheels you like to your vehicle. However, you must retain the original, the OE tyre size and spec. So if your car had 175, 80, 13 wheels on it, you can fit whatever wheels, tyres, you can fit whatever wheels you like, but you have to retain those tyres. And that's where that pathetic sort of tyres stretched out onto big rims look came from. It was so people would buy, like 10 by 13 wheels and put the standard size 175 tyres on it. So, of course, instead of being sat like that, the tyres were sat like that. And it was quite preposterous, but legal. It was dangerous. It was bloody dangerous, but quite legal. And I think they were doing it to make a point. Whether that any of that is true or whether I've just fabricated that, I don't know. So there we go. Anyway, I don't think anywhere really makes it easy for hot rodders. I think most states of America are fairly easygoing about that sort of thing. Again, I could be wrong. That's just the impression I get. One place that's the way to ride a motorbike up a cul-de-sac. One thing I was talking to a chap, was maybe last year, an Australian chap, because I know the status of Michigan cars is shocking. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of cars like that in the Rust Belt, just driving along with the wings flapping like that. I know wings are supposed to flap, but not car wings. And yeah, just panels that are just completely rusted, just covered in no paint or anything like that. Florida's the same. Florida's humid, and lots of people say that, especially people who've imported cars from the UK. Oh, it's a Florida car. That's not necessarily a good thing. Florida being a peninsula, it's got a lot of coastline, which means there's a lot of salt water about. It's also tropical, which means it's humid, which means there's a lot of rain. And when it rains in Florida, it doesn't cock around. So, yeah, saying, oh, it's a Florida car doesn't mean that it's rust-free. In fact, probably quite the opposite. But yeah, this Australian guy was, because, you must know what the car culture's like in Australia. It is huge, and it makes, in per capita, number of proper cool muscle cars, hot rods, classics and whatever, ownership per capita puts the UK to shame. I couldn't believe the state of some car. I know, and yet, like you say, there's no MOT in some places. So, however, if the Rozzers pull you over and your vehicle is unroadworthy, they can throw the book at you. Anyway, so this guy from Australia was saying, yeah, oh, he says, yes, I've got this, old Holden pickup, and I've got this, that, and the other. And he says, I said, what are the coppers like? He said, horrible. Oh no, they go out at night patrolling, look, just looking to nick anything modified. And God forbid they catch you doing, 'cause of course, one thing Australia has that we don't have here is a lot of space outside the town. So you do get people going out of town to hoon about. And fair enough, in many places there's not a lot for them to hit. There's certainly not much other traffic. I mentioned that there's a Sandman van. Oh no, aren't they the cool? However, how much are they fetching these days? Jesus wept. They are pathetically stupid money. Yeah, so people go out of town to hoon, and yeah, God forbid they catch you doing like a burnout or something or anything. Oh no, and then they do throw the bloody book at you. So, like I say, Australia, amazing car culture. Um, Coppers, not the hot rodder's friend. So, there you go. In answer to your question, what's the worst country in which to be a hot rodder? No idea. And people who live in other countries may be better placed to answer that. However, I don't believe there's any on. Yeah, like I say, those Sandman vans. If you don't know what a Sandman van is, it's the van that Mad Max and his family drove off in, went away in the first film. It's sort of like a car-based van. It's like an escort van, except it's of a decent, usable size, and they had quite a high roof on them. I'd say it's more like a big Granada station wagon, but it's a panel van, and it's extremely cool. And these days, extremely expensive. You'd say Spain, okay? What's the what's the scene like in Spain then? But because I know they have their MOT is called the ITV, isn't it? And I don't know how serious, how strict that is. I mean, a lot of European countries, like I say, can be very, very funny about things. I remember years ago when I worked in a car spare shop. Singapore, Germany, Italy are not pretty bad for hot rodding. Yeah, yeah. You can't drive anything on the road. Whoa. What are the roads for then? Oh, do you mean anything even remotely modified? I don't know what Italy's like at all. Anything Australian and pre-80s is ridiculously expensive. True. Yes, you're right. I think there are still bargains to be had, but the Aussie sort of muscle cars, crikey. And because so many Australian cars were four doors, even the muscle cars were all four doors, the two doors that they made, like the old Monaros and stuff, the old Monaros, the prices they fetch rival, so big block Chevelles and Hemi Mopars. They are really bloody expensive. But let's face it, it says a lot about the Aussie car scene. Because I'm not sure what the population of Australia is, if anybody can be asked to Google it. But I'm pretty sure that vast country that is most of a continent unto itself has about the same population as the UK. So there's space, and it's not like you buy a house over here, especially a new build, but any patch of ground around here big enough for a dog to shite on will have houses being built on it right at the minute. I don't know who's buying them. I don't know who can afford them, but houses flinging them up left, right, and centre like you couldn't build them any faster out of Lego. And some of them have garages. And you look at these garages and you think, anything bigger than a pair of roller boots, and you're not going to get, not the UK, just Wales. Eh? Wales? Ah, that can't be right. My sister's neighbour was 400 miles away, and I bet they still complained if you use the angle grinder at 3 o'clock in the morning. Population, about 70. Not 70 million, just 70. Aussies, hands down, are kings of paint and interiors. And I'll tell you what, they're the Aussies. I mean, look at the Australian Street Machine magazine. It's quality. And the scene is big. And the Street Machine Nationals, I know a couple of people who've been there, and sod for getting the milk. Yes. Although I should imagine that if it was properly in the outback, by the time you got from the shop to home, the milk had gone off. Yeah, the Street Machine Nationals in, oh God, it's in Canberra, isn't it? 6-figure attendance. And, you know, if there was a show in the, and bear in mind that the show's in Canberra, people have to travel to it. Australia, 26 million. Yeah, I remember Gary going. In fact, Gary went, as I can say, he went to the Street Machine Nationals, didn't he? 26 million in Australia. That is about, what, 40% of the UK population? Now, what's the surface area of Australia compared with the UK? So, like I say, there's none of this, oh, let's have a tiny little house with a tiny little garage, and if somebody farts 4 doors down, my letterbox flaps. None of this living in each other's pockets balls. Yeah. So, yeah, Canberra, if people have to travel to it, you know, some of them may have to travel thousands of miles, and they do. And there's none of this, oh, that show's 200 miles away, it's too far, No, they go there because it's the Street Machine Nationals, and this event is big. And the cars are half the population of just the city of Tokyo. Bloody hell. Crazy. And yeah, and it is a massive event. Look at Australian touring cars. They were crazy back in the day. Bathurst and all that lark. I really need to go. I've never been. There's so many places I've never been, and I'm sick of it. That I really want to go there. The thing is, half the time I can afford to maybe afford a holiday, or maybe afford to work on the car, but not both. And generally the car wins. But yeah, it's yeah, Oz really appeals. Especially Oz certainly appeals, and Oz really begins to appeal in about October. In the same way that the UK regains its appeal in around about April. The engineering around their rules is crazy. No tubbing. Yes, that's it. And like I say, because so many of their cars are 4 doors, there's none of this, oh, turn the nose up at a 4 door. A 2 door is bloody expensive, but there's no shame in a 4 door. They do some bonkers stuff. Yeah, but I remember reading a story in, oh God, we're going back a while here, a year or two, about a fella who'd got a modified Holden Commodore. And anyway, he had an accident, and tragically his daughter, his very young daughter, was killed in the accident. He survived and his daughter was killed. And the accident investigators found out that he had a spool in the diff. He had basically a welded diff. And they charged him with murder because of this illegal modification to his car, which they believe contributed significantly to the accident that killed his daughter. And I couldn't get my hat on at that. I thought, that is, whoa, hammer to crack a walnut. I mean, and as if the guy hasn't suffered enough. No, they tried to charge him with murder. I think it got chucked out in the end, but, you know, that is how far they're willing to go with this shite. So, there you go. Big time car culture, but they don't make it easy for you. They have as many hoops to jump through as we do, it seems. If there happen to be any Aussies out there who are willing to confirm any of this, or tell me I'm just talking bilge, which is not beyond the realms of possibility. I don't know, Chris, but oh Christ, it wasn't murder. It was something like vehicular homicide or something like that. Basically in the same category as a deliberate hit and run. And yeah, I mean, when I read it, I thought, seriously. It sounded to me, the way it was written, it sounded like the courts just wanted to set a precedent. And because if they did, they could book any future people pretty much exactly the same way. And, you know, once it's happened once, happy days. They can throw maximum penalties at what amounts to driving offences. I mean, illegal car modifications, for God's sake. Benny, who's racing in America, wants to go quicker than 8.5s, but that cage would make his car illegal on the roads in Oz. Dear me. It does seem daft, doesn't it? It's like all that thing now of, with your, you know, free tax and MOT exemption. Don't get me started on MOT exemption. I think it's the daftest idea. And what constitutes a modified car, and what constitutes a significantly modified car? Because there was all this talk a while ago about how if you wanted your free tax disc, the car had to be absolutely bone stock standard. To the extent that if your car left the factory on cross plies and you fitted radials, it was a modified vehicle. If your car had shonky little drum brakes and you fitted nice big disc brakes, modified vehicle. No, dangerous. And it did get a bit bloody daft. But yeah, there are rules in place that say, you know, if your vehicle has been modified from factory standard. So yeah, by fitting radials instead of cross plies, you're a hot rodder all of a sudden. And you got VOSA, LTA, etc. looking for, yeah. And this is the thing that it seems to have died off a bit now. But it did seem there was a time when everybody was looking over their shoulder in case Big Brother was watching them, you know, modify their vehicles like the crazy speed freaks we are, who want brakes that are slightly more reliable than 70-year-old ones made in Longbridge. It is a bit bonkers, and this is what happens when the people who, when it comes to making these laws and rules, it's almost like the people who actually write the legislation and draft it in don't know what they're talking about, really. So they ask people who do. or they ask people who should. So they ask people like Vosa and whatnot, and they get one answer off them. Then they put it out to consultation, and that's where people who do actually know what they're talking about will reply and say, no, 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 that's silly because X, Y, and Z. The people who draft the legislation go, right, screw you, we're going to do it anyway. How much of this is based on corporate interests? I don't know. Don't tell anyone, but I've got a high lift ashtray. Shut up, you fool! Bloody hell, if Vosa are watching this, and I'm pretty sure they're not, I'm pretty sure almost nobody is, yeah, I'll throw the book at you for a bloody high lift ashtray. Yes, I've got a sticker on the back bumper that says my other car's a Porsche. I haven't declared it to my insurance company. How much is it based on corporate interests? I think you'd have to dig pretty deep to find any definitive link there. I mean, I suppose you could argue that, it's all being done in the name of the environment. It's all green. We're doing it in the name of the environment. And the best thing you can do to help save the environment is get rid of your manky, polluting old car and go out and buy a new one. Ideally one of these, which is sold by one of our party donors. Because, yes, the greenest thing you can do is create 2 tons of waste out of a perfectly functioning vehicle, and go out and buy a brand new one that has just consumed 1 million kilowatts of energy in its manufacture, not to mention various raw materials. But there we go. Green smoke screen aside, corporate interests. The thing is, surely almost everything nowadays has got corporate interests somewhere along the line. I don't know. All I know is whatever happens in the world, somebody's getting rich at it, and all I know is it's not me. However, I don't want to say any more on that subject in case my aeroplane hasn't malfunctioned in mid-air. Like that Russian fellow the other day. Just look at you, Les. Make a less than 1.5% reduction in air. London is on average 20 points below the accepted danger level. But because the World Health Organization disagree, it's going through. Yeah, it's amazing how often the whole sort of green agenda, the environment can be saved by you giving us more money. That'll make everything better. Yep, no problem. Just give us a few pounds a day, and the problem will go away. Yep, no worries. Yeah, either that or it's sort of like, now, I'm sorry, you insist on driving your car and everything, you're going to have to pay, and you'll keep on paying until you learn your lesson. Hey, Phil, how you doing, matey? Street weekend, bloody hell, that's going back like 2 months now, isn't it? But did I win? No, I finished exactly in the middle of the field. I mean, exactly. There were 41 cars ahead of me and 41 cars behind me. There we go. But yeah, ULEZ. And everybody's jumping on this bandwagon. At the minute it's the cities, and then it's like the suburbs around the cities, and then it's the greater whatever area. I mean, the greater London area, the greater Manchester area as well, which basically went from the sea to the border of bloody Yorkshire. Brendan O'Neill. Get yourself on Spiked. I don't know what that is. Green cars. The Ford Piquet Factory Museum where the Model T was built as an electric 91. Yeah. 100 years ago, the best-selling cars in the West were electric. Well, more than 100 years ago now. I think it was more like around the turn of that century. Electric cars outsold petrol cars. And they were basically like milk float technology, but yeah. Oh, it's so stupid advertising. 9 of 10 cars fit the Euro standards. Fit the Euro standards. Why bother spending all the money to put it in, right? But with, yeah. But that's the thing, is that 1921 people didn't travel such vast distances. And by vast distances, I mean, it's like the other day, I mean, going to Alton Park. That was an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half there, hour and a half back. In an electric car, I'd have been wondering, would I make it? But yeah, I mean, if you've only got localish journeys to do, and I should imagine in 1921, large swathes of America didn't have much in the way of roads. Well, not roads that weren't sort of rutted, muddy tracks. Jay Leno's got something. Yeah. Roll down windows. Ooh, get you. That's it. Like I say, Britain was one thing, but yeah, the first car Ferdinand Porsche designed and built was an all-wheel drive electric car. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, I suppose by, you're talking about luxurious with wind-down windows. I suppose by the standards of the time, having a roof was like quite the luxury option extra. Because a lot of cars would still have been open, but it's one thing with the electric car using vast lead-acid batteries like you get in a milk float. But the oh, hello. Come on, there we go. But the cars of the day didn't have the demands on the electrical system, not counting the propulsion motor. There's none of this. Oh yeah, HID headlamps, and heated and cooled seats, and a bloody great sat nav system on a in-car entertainment, obviously, and yada yada yada, and all these things aside from the electric motors that use a lot of energy. So you would get a little more out of your lead-acid battery. The guy who made eco-friendly fuel with no oil, who died if he did exist, and if the oil industry killed him off. Well, I'm wondering if that's another one of those chaps, like the fella yesterday whose aircraft malfunction killed him. Yes. Hey ho. Nice to have primitive canvas roof and no side windows. Had a tiller with a twist grip throttle. Well, I suppose you can have a twist grip throttle with an electric car, can't you? It's just connected some giant rear stat or something. A bloody heavy duty dimmer switch. Oh dear, oh my life. Right, I've gibbered on quite long enough. I want to go and have my tea. So, if anybody's got anything else to add, please do so now. I was saying, what was I saying earlier? Yes, bank holiday weekend. Let us know what you do in bank holiday weekend, if you got any good shows or events to suggest to people. Like I said, the following weekend, first weekend in September, the second weekend is the Euro finals. So hopefully I'll be there with James for that. James, who did send me a message asking me a question like 1 minute before live time. So that's why I haven't answered him. The following weekend is Melbourne. That's what I wanted to say. Melbourne, in the first calendars they released, said that the weekend of the 9th and 10th of September was the September round at Melbourne. It's not. It's the following weekend. It's the weekend that clashes with the Hot Rod Drags. It's not the weekend that clashes with the Euros. Are you coming to the Nationals? Brilliant stuff. Nice one, Ken. See you there. But oh, and Phil says there's more concrete going down there. Every time I go to Melbourne, which is nowhere near as often as it should be. Every time I go to Melbourne, there's more bits being done. It's great. You ought to mix things up a bit and put patches in different places and spot the new concrete, not just add on to the existing patches. So yes, Melbourne is the Hot Rod Drags weekend. The following weekend after that is the national finals. It's also Flat Caps and Ferrets. So if you're up Huddersfield Way, Flat Caps and Ferrets show is up there. Oh, excuse me. So there you go. You now have all the spiel. Are you going in the Mustang to where? Who am I going to where in the Mustang? So yes, there we go. That's what's going next week. Next week I will be back here with any luck on the Friday, so a week tomorrow. This peculiar arrangement, Melbourne. No, I shall be. Unfortunately, I shan't be going to Melbourne because I will be. Like I say, I'll be at the Euro finals the previous weekend and the national finals the subsequent weekend, and I just can't do 3 weekends on the trot. Cash-wise, mainly. So unfortunately, it looks like I won't be going to Melbourne. You never know, though, things may change. An elderly relative who I had no idea about may bequeath me something. I don't think I have any, but you never know. One might turn up. So there we go. That's what's that's the state of play. So if anybody has anything else to chip in with, do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to chuff off. Whatever you're doing, August Bank Holiday weekend, I hope the weather stays lovely for you. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Make the most of it because it's the end of August, for God's sake. The kids will be back at school in a minute. Set the other 2 weekends off and get to Melbourne. I like your style. However, yes, like I say, I'm supposed to be crewing for my friend James, and as these are the last 2 rounds of Street Eliminator, yes, this should be a good Euro finals one, because aside from my friends Vicky and Pete bringing out their Buick, which is horny, I believe Mark Todd may be making a reappearance with the Freight Train GTO. So yeah, there you go. And then there's a national finals where it all comes down to the wire. So that's probably what I'll be doing. So thank you ever so much for joining in. Like I say, a week tomorrow, hopefully do all this shite again. And in the meantime, thank you very much for coming along. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. And I shall see you next time. Ta-da.